Hey, y'all, this is Rick here with Uncommon Communion, and it is early Saturday morning. And I just had to get on to record before I went to bed. And wow, there is so much to be angry about on Friday regarding the regime, regarding the lawlessness, regarding the cruelty, and just the plain out insanity. And rather than writing a post in the form that I've been taking in the morning posts for Advent, I just had to get on to talk for a minute. And yeah, let's begin as we always begin with recognizing, realizing, celebrating, and affirming that even when things look dark and bleak and are aggravating beyond belief, that we are always and everywhere in the holy presence of God and each other. Huh, where to begin? I think we start with the least of the things of Friday, and that is the little dictator putting his name on the Kennedy Center. Did you see that? And it is insane. I don't feel much personally about that. I don't know that I've ever seen the Kennedy Center. I certainly know I've never been there. But just the audacity and the insanity for him to think that this is okay, to just slap his name everywhere. It just shows the reason why we went out for those No Kings protests, because he wants to be a king. He believes that he is a king. That's number one from today. Number two from today is the big one. It's not my final one because there is a number three, and that's a local one. Number two, though, is the Trump Maxwell Epstein files and the law breaking, the flat out law breaking that the Justice Department did on Friday. Now, you know, if you are a regular listener, that I have been banging the drum on this cover up for months now. And we continue to see that cover up go on. And I want, before we talk about some of the details, I want to just reiterate something that I heard some very knowledgeable people. There's a lot of journalists that have done a lot of work on connecting the dots. And this is not conspiracy. This is receipts. This is pulling things from what we have gotten and what we know about some of the players who have been named in this. And somebody who I trust and respect their opinion said yesterday this is a worldwide cover up that is possibly likely the biggest cover up that we have seen in world history. Now, I know that's saying a lot. That is superlative and hyperbolic. But I think, y'all, when this comes out, and it is coming out, the momentum is there. And we are going to see how huge this is. Today, though, we saw lawbreaking. And again, you've probably heard this elsewhere today, but I just want to underscore a couple things that struck me about what we got and didn't get on Friday from the Department of Justice. Early in the day, Todd Blanche, who is the second in charge, and keep in mind, he was Donald Trump's personal attorney, right? He also was the one that went down and had the little chat with Ghislaine Maxwell. And just lo and behold, a couple days later, she ended up in that club fed in Texas. And I just want to underscore what he said early in the day on Friday. He says, we're going to, and it was very, you probably seen the clip. He was very just calm about it. You know, we got all these documents, 100,000 documents we're going to release today. And then our second piece is going to be later. We'll release those. And, you know, we're working on that. That's illegal. He is breaking the law because what the Epstein transparency law that was voted in Congress almost unanimously, that the dictator signed into law, it required everything everything to be released. So just right there up front, that it was a partial release. It is estimated by some of the folks who are knowledgeable that it was maybe 10% of what they just had, what they have, and 5%, half of that, or 50% of that has already been released. So we're looking at just 5%, a very small new release. And the thing, so right there, that's illegal. And then the other thing that is so striking and so ham handed in this cover up is that nowhere, nowhere in what they released on Friday did Donald Trump's name appear. Now, we got a lot of pictures of Bill Clinton, we got a picture of Michael Jackson, we got a lot of, other celebrities, but nowhere did Trump's name appear. And we know that his name is all over that. We know that from reporting that has been done. And we also know it from what we have seen in the other group of documents that we are getting and images, which is the Epstein estates files. And we have to assume that the government has that as well. So we know Trump is all over this. And the fact that his name was nowhere to be found is so telling. A couple more little things you may or may not have seen is the amount of redactions in it. Entire blocks of pages were redacted. There was something like 100 pages in some kind of a grand jury testimony that was blacked out, completely redacted. And as part of the law, if anything was redacted, it only could be victims' names and the survivors, the victims, the young women who were raped and trafficked, not protecting the men and the others who did this, right? Who facilitated and allowed this. Lastly, this is another just piece of the insanity, is that there's really no accountability. There's nothing in the law that requires accountability, except, as I was hearing Glenn Kirshner, who's one of my many heroes that I watch and listen to and read here on Substack, he was saying that the one thing that could very well break this is, now that the law has been broken, that the survivors can sue the Justice Department, and that could break the logjam, force Bondi to release everything to a judge who would then look through it and see and make decisions on it. So here's the thing, y'all, before I talk about the third and final piece, is about anger, right? Everything that we are seeing that this regime does is designed to wear us out, beat us down, tire us out, and lead us to apathy, lead us to despair, lead us to just throw up our hands and say, well, we've done it all. What more can we do? It's hopeless. But y'all, if you, again, go back to where this Epstein thing started, which was really in the middle of the summer, look how far we've come, right? We got a law in place, and now there is law breaking. That brings this to another place, a law breaking in the cover up, right? There's been tons of laws broken in what led us here, but law breaking in the cover up. So y'all, we have to hold fast. We have to be resilient. We have to know that the end is in sight and that the truth will triumph and accountability will be given. All right, the last piece here is ICE is in Columbus, where I live, and this is aggravating and just so problematic in so many ways. And I am learning of raids that were done here in Columbus on Friday, even some very close to where I live. And I have not paid a lot of attention this far to, what to do if you see somebody who's being dragged away, what to do if you yourself are confronted, right? And I'm going to study up on those things because there is a possibility now, and I don't know if it's a likelihood, but a possibility that I may personally encounter some of that. And what others have done in other cities, I am so grateful for that. And now it's the time for my city and me and my community to do similarly. We've been given a good example, and now we have to use that. So, all right. I just want to close with the Serenity Prayer, which we have prayed before many times here. I also, just a reminder that it is Saturday is the fourth day of the O antiphons. It's O Clavis David, the key of David. And I'll put a link to my write-up from it last year and also a little video on that. And finally, I'll continue with Father Ed's reflections on Advent. So I'll put that in the notes as well so that you don't miss that on Saturday morning. So let us pray. God, grant us the serenity to accept the things we cannot change, the courage to boldly change the things that we can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Thy will, not ours, be done. All right, y'all. As I always say, be well, be bold, be gentle, and hold fast, y'all.